PM says government focus to deliver. Talks to expand Jackson's terminal. And Hela opens Family and Sexual Violence Office.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayre.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Sunday's news. Prime Minister James Marape says his government is focused to improve service delivery in 2022. He says the 2022 national budget is key to support sectors like health, agriculture and infrastructures like roads, jetties, wharves and telecommunication, among others. PM Marape said this year will be challenging, but if right decisions are made together, people and government can climb out of the deep economic hole.
Walking with optimism into 2022,
In his New Year message, Prime Minister James Marape says his government will work extra hard to build the country. He says the 2022 national budget is key to better service delivery and iron out legacy issues of development. PM Marape said health is one sector.
Beginning this year, your government is building 22 world-class hospitals in each of our provinces, including our special autonomous region of Bougainville. Altogether, we've allocated 470 million kina for it. Another 60 million kina is going towards the construction of the heart and cancer facilities at PNG's leading referral hospital, the Port Moresby General Hospital. This is because I do not want to see Papua New Guineans going to seek health services overseas. And I have directed that in our country, health services access must be within 1 hour reach, whether you're walking or you are traveling by boat or you're traveling by car, or you are flying in. Every health services must be within 1 hour reach.
While programs like price support, SME and others will continue, the Prime Minister says the renewable sector has been allocated 100 million kina to chart the way forward for downstreaming. He says this is a key intervention and something consecutive governments have been working on.
In the downstream processing space, an area long talked about by many governments but hardly have ventured into, my government have begun allocating 100 million kina into Pacific Marine Industrial Zone, for instance, and this will be based in the first instance in Manus and Medang. This is well overdue because Papua New Guineans will start to process fish that we catch in our waters, and to ensure we keep all the benefits in the value chain, such as jobs and other spin-offs. The PMI jet begins this year. Furthermore, our focus on downstream processing will be for all sectors. Sectors like mining, petroleum, forestry, agriculture too, so we can add value to our resources and create more ripple economic gains, including employment and kina entrapment in our domestic economy. With such focuses, for instance in agriculture, we would like to put a ban sometimes into the future on imports of foods like rice and beef, those that we can grow and process locally. This journey has already started when we took office and will be entrenched in 2022 and going forward into the future.
Adding on, the Prime Minister says the government has secured funding to maintain the completion of enabling infrastructures. He said this will open up and unlock rural communities. Programs for airports, wharves, jetties, roads and bridges will continue in 2022.
In continuing our efforts to build our country bigger, build our economy better, and to make Papua New Guinea the richest black Christian nation as I envisage, or happy, wealthy and wise as Somare's Vision 2050 puts it, our signature Connect PNG program puts in place the country's enabling infrastructures such as roads, airports, wharves, jetties, airstrips, bridges, electricity and telecommunications. For instance, over the last 2 years since we've been in government, from 2019 to 2021, we are building over 323 roads, and we have covered over 1,900 kilometers, mostly in rural Papua New Guinea. We have secured funding programs for all our ports and jetties. We have secured funding programs for our power line programs. We are connecting our airports and airstrips by extending the CADI program that the Somalia government last secured in 2009. So all our airports and airstrips are reached and connected. All this will continue over the next decade to achieve 100% connectivity by the time we come to 2040.
Concluding his New Year's message, the Prime Minister reiterated his call for people to elect honest leaders in the 2022 national elections. He says the nation has 4 years left to celebrate its Golden Jubilee. While challenges like COVID-19 and the huge economic debt remain, PM Marape said his government wants to strike a balance to move the country forward. Among his ending remark, he called for all to uphold and show respect.
Use your voting power wisely and do not sell your birthright for a plate of food. Your country needs you to be wise in 2022. As I close, I make a final call to all our people, including politicians and residents, to respect each other and each other's rights, to be law-abiding as we live through 2022. Let us commit to respect the child and wife in your house, the women and children in your community and workplace, the elderly and those living with disabilities amongst us. Be kind and warm to our foreign residents and visitors in our country. By doing this, you will have truly contributed to taking back Papua New Guinea from the wrong road and putting our country onto the right road to economic independence, where we are not leaving anyone behind. I want to conclude by thanking all hands who helped our country in 2021. Our people and the praying Christian churches for living through with understanding of the hard times we lived in 2021. Our business and civil community, our foreign investors and our bilateral partners and multilateral partners, our judiciary and parliament for saving us. I want to also think of our president in the autonomous region of Bougainville, His Honorable Ismail Toroma, and our people in Bougainville, and our faithful public servants who served us right across our country, especially those teachers and doctors and nurses and community health workers with our missionaries who are serving in the remotest parts of our country through the hardships that they live with. I just want to thank each and every one of you. It was a total privilege serving you all in 2021. I look forward to your support and to work with you all again in 2022.
Jack Lapawa Jr., National EMTV News.
2 new generators have been installed at the PNG power station in Daru, Western Province, in attempts to stabilise the region's electricity grid. Funded by the Australian government at 3 million kina, these generators are expected to provide immediate relief to Daru's electricity supply. It is the first stage of Australia's commitment to upgrade and transition the Daru's electricity grid to a hybrid diesel-solar system. These improvements contribute to Australia's commitments under the PNG Electrification Partnership and aims to connect 70% of the country to electricity by 2030. Talks on expanding the Jackson's domestic terminal are still in its infant stages, but the National Airports Corporation is already planning to build a bigger terminal to accommodate the increase in passengers accessing the terminal. NAC Managing Director Rex Kiponge says the expansion is captured in his 10-year plan aimed to improve airport facilities.
Port Moresby has become the transit point for passengers with connecting flights to other parts of the country. But despite increase in flights and the introduction of airline services to new destinations, the airport facilities in Port Moresby has not seen an expansion to accommodate the increase. And the impact of this is mostly felt during the peak festive period. The government body responsible to address this is the National Airports Corporation.
That calls for us to expand this terminal. We need to look at expanding this terminal. In my 10 years as a person sitting in the chair, I will lead, and we will try and seek funding from the government and also other donor agencies. And ADB, who has been very supportive of us NAC. So see if we can ask them to help us to expand the terminal to accommodate the increasing population.
The airline industry is starting to generate profits again after the COVID-19 pandemic imposed restrictions on travel. In Papua New Guinea, the two airline companies lost millions of kina during the economic crisis between 2020 and 2021. This had impacted NAC's revenue generation as well. Thus, plans for the expansion of the domestic terminal were not fully carried out. However, NAC has big plans to give the Jackson's domestic terminal a new look to benefit passengers.
You check downstairs, come up the escalator, sit here, relax, and we are planning to build 2 air bridges, so that you sit here and then that's domestic air bridge, air bridge to connect to domestic flights. So we intend to build 2 air bridges, check in downstairs, come up the escalator, sit here, relax, and then jump in the aircraft through air bridge.
With these plans still in discussion stages, NAC needs the support of the national government to finance these changes. Thekla Jogo, National EMTV News.
A primary school inspector from Yanguru South Sea District has acknowledged all teachers and students in the district for their academic performances last year. School Inspector Maggie Kambaki says most primary schools and high schools in the district are among the top 10 in the province. She says despite the COVID-19 challenges, teachers and students are prepared and have performed beyond expectations. She further added that it is a result of the district's commitment to invest in the education sector.
When they sit for the national exam in November, my schools did very well. And one of my schools in the Numbo, out of the white line and out of the town, in a remote setting, came first in the province. That's Sasoya Primary School. Drekigia came second, and Marinubo, my school on the white line, came third. Kubalia came 10th. So the Nubo South district schools have performed very well in 2021, despite COVID-19 disturbances. But with COVID-19, teachers were prepared, and there was risk involved in teachers' life and students. But we did well this year, and we performed, and we topped the province. So next year, I will do my best to tell my head teachers and students, teachers, we must maintain our standard. That we came first, we must maintain it next year in the province. So overall, in education, Yanguru Social District schools have done very well. So I take this time to thank our Honorable Member Richard Maru for his support.
You're watching National EMTV News. We'll be back with more stories after these short messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back. A private interview room with officers and playing areas for children living with special needs are all included in the office complex for Tari Family and Sexual Violence Unit in Hela province. Anticipated to give a major boost to the FSV unit, the purpose-built unit significantly enhances the ability for police to investigate and prosecute family and sexual violence, child abuse or similar crimes. It was officially opened by the Australian High Commissioner to PNG, John Philp, and Hela Governor Philip Undialu, and is part of a network of 47 now operating across PNG. The new unit is part of PNG Australia Partnership Program and cost the Australian government 1.6 million kina. The ruling government has vowed to build 22 modern health facilities in the country. This was reiterated by Prime Minister James Marape while presenting a 10 million kina funding to Manus Provincial Health Authority recently. PM Marape said people must access health services within an hour and be served.
Speaking in Manus, the Prime Minister said that the 22 modern hospitals is a key development agenda for the government. He said this will complement the National Health Plan. The Prime Minister said the 2022 budget will support and see work begin in all major centres of the country.
15 million kina middle housing. This, unlike this 10 million kina cap, that 15 million kina, we'll keep it and we'll work on a program. Whether I want an ADB, that's the European facilities where we lagat where Koroka housing now we work is or not one facility in global. This will become a collateral for a program to build 22 good hospitals right for our country.
A 10 million kina funding was presented to the Manus Provincial Health Authority. The Prime Minister said, like other centers, Manus people must access proper modern health facilities within an hour. And with the pandemic into its third year, an isolation and treatment facility will be built.
In our effort to fight COVID-19, it's not over yet. And not just COVID-19, but we are also preparing for disease in the future. And so this will go to assist the PHA and the team to have a modern isolation care facility.
Spending a day in the small island province, the Prime Minister says the new airport facility is key to support people and its provincial economy. He says a number of investments by the government will be discussed. The Prime Minister says if people are healthy, more will be achieved in the years to come.
Nuclear airport you will make it, we will go with Manus for business. I just want us to think of one thing, that Manus is safe to live and work even with COVID-19 going forward. I made a statement that I do not want Papua New Guineans to struggle to find health services. Health services must be within 1 hour reach by walking, 1 hour reach by driving, or 1 hour reach by boat, or unlock canoe and boat, or 1 hour reach by fly. Health is important, even not compromising. So in the context, the accessibility to health facilities must be within reach.
Jack Lopava Jr., National EMTV News.
As celebrations continued in the country, Konpi villagers at Topa in Southern Highlands were caught by surprise when a landslide occurred on Monday, 27th of December 2021. 5 people were buried alive, an elderly woman, a mother and her 3 children. Over 400 villagers, including the family members of the 5 people lost in the landslip, had been mourning since the incident occurred. On Saturday, January 1st, the villagers gathered at the incident site and held a funeral service for the deceased. After a week-long search, the villagers, however, did not find the bodies of the 3 children and their mother due to piled-up stones and mud. 4 empty caskets were also laid in the graves, resembling the burials of the 3 children and their mother. The villagers are urging their provincial authorities to help restore their lives during this time of loss. You're watching National EMTV News. Chukai Sports is next. All the details after the break.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. Bringing the PNG Games closer to the people and leaving behind a positive footprint was a driving factor in awarding the 8th PNG Games to the Southern Highlands province, who are set to host the event later this year.
The awarding of the PNG Games to Mendi in the Southern Highlands province was an indication that the PNG Games Council wanted to bring the national sporting event to smaller centers around the country, leaving a legacy that will remain long after the Games have ended.
And we took up the challenge to host the PNG Games in Southern Highlands, not because we had stadium or facilities, but we wanted to make a benchmark to all small centers around the country, like Kimbe, Kerema, or living centers. Like many is a small center with no facility and all this. So we wanted to build good standard facilities so that, especially up in the islands. Only Koroka Institute of Sports is only there. So in the upper islands, we wanted Mendi to be one of the, sporting province. So that not only for the PNG Games, but also for future use.
Once the synthetic track is installed at the Oyarap Stadium, the facilities will be the first of its kind in the Highlands region.
80% completed the stadium. The track is already done, the concrete-based track. genetic track materials are already on site. So those has to be installed by experts from the factory, from China. The main stadium, as per the design, we already erected the steel structures. We are working on the walls, the internal electrical, plumbing, and all this. It will be a 3,000-4,000 capacity stadium. And the surrounding will be, all bleachers are also on site. So we'll have 10,000 capacity stadium. So we want to build that stadium properly so that, our athletes can enjoy the PSG Games.
Huxley Lovai, Chukai Sports.
And that ends Chukai Sports, so what the details coming up next.
Chukai Sports. Chukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
A look at the weather forecast for this afternoon and tonight in the southern region. Mostly fine weather in Port Moresby, partly cloudy in Alotau, cloudy with a shower or two in Daru and Kerema, and some showers and thunderstorms in Popondetta. A look in the Momase region, mostly cloudy in Ley and Wau, cloudy with possible showers in Medang, and some showers and thunderstorms expected in Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, cloudy with some light showers in Lorengau, KV, Kokopo and Rabaul, showers and thunderstorms expected in Kimbe, and partly cloudy weather in Buka. And in the Highlands region, showers and cloudy with some showers right across the region in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kondiawa, Mendi and Marburg. D4 hours, coastal waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Daru to Hood Point, with coastal waters of Cape Vogel through Huon Gulf to Vitia Strait, with waters of Wewak to Vanimo, and northern PNG Indonesian border, including waters of Manus, seas of 1 to 2 meters. Coastal waters of Hood Point to Samari Island, seas of 2.5 to 3 meters. Waters of Vitia Strait to Wewak, seas of 1.5 to 3.5 meters. And waters of New Britain to New Ireland and Bougainville, seas of 1 to 2.5 meters. A look at the ocean forecast for PNG areas. In the Coral Sea, seas slight to moderate with northwest winds at 10 to 20 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, seas moderate with northwesterly winds at 10 to 20 knots. In the Solomon Sea, seas moderate to rather rough with 15 to 24 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean, seas slight to moderate with northeast to westerly winds at 10 to 20 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that's been the news, sport and weather for Sunday, 2nd of January 2022. Until next time, pleasant viewing. Good night.